Hello, my name is Victor, and I'm a pictureaholic. It's a terrible, incurable disease that causes severe male pattern baldness and the obsession to make pictures day after day. As a person that has to do this on demand, coming up with ideas on demand, I had to come up with a special process. My work pretty much has to do with bringing a lot of interesting assignments to the studio to keep me busy, to feed my obsession, have a way to execute them, and have a way to get them out to keep my clients happy. Now, this middle process, what we call the creative process, doesn't only allow me to look like a short version of Wolverine or dress up like a 15-year-old heavy metal fan, but also requires a very specifically developed thought process that will be delivering for me time after time, day after day. Let's go through a little bit of an explanation of what inspiration is. And usually inspiration is understood as a beautiful, glorious golden light that comes down to us through divine intervention that stimulates our brain cells, brings beautiful moments of clarity where we can come up with ideas we could never come up with before, but unfortunately, maybe could never come up with again. I could not count on such a process. Number one, skin cancer from the light exposure, since I have to do it day after day. And also, this is not a process I could control, and I need it time after time. So by observing myself through the years, as I was not egocentric enough, discovered the time and the place where thought, and especially good thought that I'm interested with, came up from the head you're looking at on the top of my shoulders. I had to find out the time and the place where these ideas came up. And these two things are very intertwined in a way that you can almost not separate them. But they're also separable, because you need to know how to follow your process and know when not to follow your process. So I, for example, found out that if I split the day into two, the early part and the second part, I'm much better coming up with ideas on the second part, especially before I go to sleep. I brush my teeth, I wear my striped pajamas, I kiss my wife goodbye, and I start getting into the zone just before Morpheus takes me to dreamland. I can relax and pace my brain and pretty much do whatever I do at work. I take assignments that have different subject matters, I equalize visual symbols to them, and then I make an omelet out of them. That's pretty much it. So the clarity of that time helps me choose the right symbols for the right meanings and use them to work. Now, a lot of people ask, how do you remember a good idea next time in the morning? And the truth is, if the idea is good, you remember it. If it sucks, it dissolves in your dreams. I also pretty much can follow the mental steps that brought me to this idea and pretty much come up with the same idea or hopefully a better one. Other places that I'm good with ideas is the shower. So there's something going on with water, and after I'm done with conditioning all of this hair, shampooing and scrubbing, the water cascading down on me just frees up my thought process. If you don't come up with an idea when you're in the shower, anyways, I jump out. I can always use a shower. You get cleaner anyway. So it's a win-win, either if you come up with an idea or not. I also know that I'm good with ideas in transit. I love sketching on a plane. I love sketching on a train. I love sketching when I'm in danger of being bored, because for me, that's the number one enemy right after the IRS. Now, I spoke to you a little bit about my process of from the inside to the outside. I'll speak about the outside to the inside. I'm an angry and jealous guy. It doesn't show, but that's the truth. But I've learned to use all this anger and jealousy to people and projects and shows that succeed. Bottle it up, take it to the studio, make notes, call some people, and make it work for me. I took things that were eating me up inside, and I've used them to my advantage. And I remember that a lot of years ago, after a terrible Sunday morning in the Chelsea galleries in New York, I picked up the phone and I called my agent and I said, Les, we need to get me a show. If other people's shit is called artwork, so is mine. His answer was, I thought you'll never ask. And that pretty much spearheaded my career in exhibiting. Now, next on is that I can't come up with ways to not only have the inside to outside, the outside to the inside, but find ways to break through thinker's block that happen to everyone. When I'm stuck, I love doing dishes. It's an amazing process that only clears up the table, but it also, within a few minutes, transforms a dirty pile of dishes in a sink in front of you through using your hands, that is a very physical kind of experience, into a beautiful stack of clean plates, sparkling. And I have found out that the physical process and result in the physical process cascade into the mental process. So if I have big problems in the studio and I cannot resolve them, you will catch me dusting and just cleaning up something around me, hoping all of this will get inside and we will free my mechanism. Now, another cornerstone to my thinking process is human contact, especially human contact in the morning, not only by my wife, but also going out and having breakfast with mentors, one of my big secrets, teachers or people that I really admire, that I keep in touch, and I keep in touch with my mentors in Greece, in Israel, and in New York City due to geographic proximity, of course. But breakfast or morning coffee is very different than an afternoon coffee, different than lunch, and different than dinner. There is no social agenda to it. Everybody has to go to work after the breakfast, so there's only a limited time in front of you. And as relaxed as you are, you know you have to make it count because you got other places to go. So I would definitely advise that. Now, taking all of the results from a thinking process and doing nothing to them, or nothing with them, or nothing for them, or nothing about them, is completely pointless. I met a Russian man, an older Russian man, quite a few years ago that told me, listen up, young man, solid proof I was young once, in order to become an expert, in order to become successful, you need to know everything about something and something about everything. And even though it did not sink in right away, while walking back to the studio, it made perfect sense to be as good as it gets in one slice of an industry, or create your own industry, but also surround it with a great framework of knowledge of what's going on around you and history in order to be able to take all this peripheral information and drop it into your specialized process and specialized knowledge in order to renovate it time after time in order to make it interesting. Now, the issue of work and how do we become a specialist in a subject no matter what that subject is. Very early on, because I'm the kind of person that worked very hard. I'm the person that studied overnight. I'm not the person that saw something and immediately could respond. I'm the person that needs to do the homework. And for me, that's only pretty much the teachable way to get somewhere. I'm a big believer in the 10,000 hours of practice in order to be an expert. And you will hear this from guitar players that put the hours. You will hear it for animators that tell you there are 10,000 bad drawings in you. And as soon as you get them out, the good ones, we will start flowing. And here is where my students, especially on the graduate level, will ask me, but Victor, if you work so much, and in order to save you some thought, 10,000 hours is about 1.14 years, is about 460 days, and it takes 7 to 10 years to apply without going crazy. So my students ask me, how do you know you've worked too much? Is there such a thing? I said, yes, there's signs. As soon as blood starts dripping out of your eyes, you know you overdid it. Take a 15 to 20 minute break and go right back into it because you're not done. As far as work goes, here comes my definition of talent. Because people say, well, you're an artist, anyways, you would have to do it. Talent, to me, is what gives you the patience to practice what you like in order to become a specialist. And here is where everyone can use that formula. You think, and we spoke about the thought process, you come up with ideas, you zone on the talent or talents you might have, and then you start intensively working on them. And you will find out within a week if this is not for you. You jump on something else, you jump on something else. It's a pretty simple process in order to get somewhere. I will give you one more quote here about the issue of work and luck, because they're so interconnected. The more you work, the luckier you get. There's absolutely no speckle of doubt in my mind. And perfect practice works in such a way that made Bruce Lee say, and that's a martial arts wisdom for you, I am not afraid of the man that has practiced 1,000 kicks. I'm afraid of the man that practiced one kick 1,000 times. Now, in order to take advantage of these 10,000 hours, because when I'm talking about 10,000 hours, we all know that during our lifetime, we will drive for 10,000 hours easy. That doesn't make us a Formula One driver. For most of us, way far from it. The 10,000 hours only work with constant target assessment. I don't really know what that means, but I read it and it sounds cool. Expert guidance and instant feedback. I hope that makes sense. Now, increasing your productivity and really taking advantage of all these hours that you're going to put into this one thing that will become your ticket to push anything you like forward is matching the perfect task with the perfect time. I told you I'm better with thinking on the second part of the day. On the first time of the day, I'm very good with doing robotic, automatic work that would drive me crazy on the second part of the day. I have a pretty cruel schedule. I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. As you see, not a lot of beauty sleep has been invested in this phase. I make my tea, I go upstairs, and I just get the studio ready. So I can sit down and retouch my photographs, I can mix my photographs, I can finish them, I can color them. But I could never do this on a different time of the day. I got a good time for making phone calls. I have work to be doing on my computer while I'm talking to people. It's funny, after half an hour, 45-minute conversation, people go, oh, I'm going to let you go back to work. And I'm thinking, if I was not working, I would be doomed. So I will take break from one task and do another task, take a break from here and go there, get on the phone, mix and match them into a fairly specific way. So all of my hours are completely effective. Brainless manual labor doesn't get anyone anywhere. The labor needs to be productive and effective. Now, that is the fire department motto. If you're not early, you're late. Now you'll say, Victor, being punctual is really not news to us. But I have to tell you that punctuality is kind of starting to eclipse from our world. And that means only one thing, that punctuality will not disappear, it will be respected and paid for more and more and more. I know that if I don't get on the train 15 minutes before the half hour that I thought it's going to take me to get somewhere, especially if I haven't been there, if I don't send my files a day early, an hour early, I'm not going to have internet connectivity. I know this. When I need it, technology will let me down, and I need to find a way to circumvent this. And that's very important when you live in a deadline, in a killer deadline-oriented world like I do, because in our business, there's nothing sacred than the deadline. So punctuality is something completely self-propelled. We control it. You just have to get an alarm clock or a watch. This is pretty much it. No crisis affects it. No pollution affects it. No one under by you. And I found that it became part of my my way of operating, part of my brand, part of what people are expecting from me, and part of the reasons that people are choosing one person over another. It has become a solid part of my motto operandi. Not my ramoto operandi, these are two very different things, but it's part of the way that I function. A little too strong? I apologize. That's the kind of stuff I come up with at 5:30 in the morning. Watching my language, and I mean this in the best way, is something that started at college. The MFA of the School of Visual Arts, the Illustration MFA, had creative writing for people that are studying arts, for people that would be busy painting and sketching and coming up with concepts every day. But this one creative writing class became my way of speaking English. I never read a book in English before I took this class. It took me 4 days at the library, because I could not afford the book, and 3 dictionaries to read To Kill a Mockingbird. Thankfully, it was an interesting book, but from now on, I felt much more comfortable reading books in English in order to work on my vocabulary. I was very questioning and thoughtful about social media. I didn't like Facebook. I didn't like blogging. But a couple of years ago, when I asked my students, who the hell blogs anyways? And they all raised their hands. I knew I was screwed. So I started just looking for reasons and looking around me for things that will interest me and things that I could upload other than beautiful pictures of food before they enter your digestive system. Okay, to make this clear. And I found ways to just give a little bit about my process, give a little bit of the initial thoughts, give a little bit about the history of my pictures, because I use social network to shamelessly promote my work and the things that I'm involved with. I'm human after all. And you find your writing through a couple of friends that actually had to open my accounts because I'm not really able, to make my editing better and better and better. And I cannot tell you that my writing is good, but I can promise you that it's getting better. So, I hope some of the things I told you, you might be able to incorporate them in your routine towards happiness, success, more success, world domination, whatever you're working on. If not, maybe take a couple of extra showers and wash a couple of extra dishes. Thank you so much.